So we have 2 weeks left, 14 days and 11 hours at the time of recording, and we are going to go through our prediction for the 5th of November, perhaps the 6th. Maybe it will take a few days to get the results in, but we'll be looking at our predictions. So we have the map here. We have the swing state polling and some other polling as well. We're going to go to certain states like Florida and see if they are within or outside of 10 points. And we will look at the Polymarket changes as well. So, starting with the Pacific Coast, as always, Washington, deep blue, California, deep blue, Hawaii, deep blue, despite the wildfire reaction. We talk about this a lot, but despite the wildfire reaction in Hawaii, it's not going to be in play. California, again, not going to be in play. Far too liberal, and Washington the same. But Oregon is one we do need to look at in the polling. So what we say with polling is it tends to, if it's a deeper or a deep blue state, for example, the polling's going to show it a little bit closer because you're going to get a response bias from the other side to make it look closer, and at the end of the day it will be further away. We saw this with this +5 for Harris in Oregon. It's not realistic. It's probably closer to 10 than it is to 5, and I think it's probably closer to 13 than it is to 10. But we saw this Democrat-affiliated one. I mean, all the signs point to Oregon being under 10. It's a bit like New Jersey in that respect. Could Oregon go under 10? Of course. Ooh, am I willing to put it there? I think it is really close now, but I think I'd keep it just as safe blue there. Now we can go to our mountain states and Alaska. So Alaska is going to be under 10 this time because in 2020 it was 10 points exactly, 10.0, and there's not a big black population there. Despite the viral TikTok the other day, there's still not a big black population down there, or up there rather. So they don't make up a lot of the electorate. That was what changed the 2020 election, and I think you have a lot less populist voters up there. They're a little bit more, establishment based. So Alaska there, we're going to have it under 10 points. Next, we have Utah, which is going to be, of course, over 10. We did see a poll there the other day that had it at 16, but again, that's still not close. Wyoming, the most red state in the country, that's going to stay red. Idaho, Montana, we can check up on the Senate race in Montana. It's 7 points. It looks like that's going to flip, and the Senate is going to go red. We have North Dakota and South Dakota. They are going to be red. North Dakota or South Dakota, I think, 100% for Donald Trump. So there's no chance of that flipping. We have Nebraska with the 3rd and 1st districts and the state at large, as well as Kansas and Oklahoma. Kansas is not going to be under 10 like some people say. It's going to be probably 15. And then we have this 2nd district in Nebraska, which the deadline passed quite some time ago now for Republicans to make Nebraska winner-take-all. That would have opened up another path to victory through Nevada, but they will not do that. Nebraska will be, maybe they're saving that for a closer election, but Nebraska will be split there, 4 electoral votes to 1. Then we have Colorado, which certainly could be within 10. I think it's probably 10 points now if I were to make a guess. So you could put it as likely, you could put it as safe. I'm going to put it as safe, and that's because of the California migrants. They've just flooded the Denver area, and therefore it will be very, very liberal. We have New Mexico, which again is not in play, but we can look at the polling in New Mexico. The average is 6.9, but also in the Sun Belt, Donald Trump maybe gets slightly overestimated, particularly in Nevada, so we have to keep that in mind. But we do have +4 was the last poll we had from the Telegraph. New Mexico is not that far away. Maybe a bit of a Virginia in 2016 kind of vibe, where it's not, and kind of Virginia in 2024. Maybe on a really good election night it could come close. I still don't think it would flip, but we'll have to keep an eye on New Mexico. Maybe New Mexico is getting slightly closer than we think. But anyway, we have Texas. Texas is going to stay Republican, probably by 6 points. Maybe it'll turn a corner in terms of its trends at the moment. I think it's the last 4 or 5 elections. Texas has gone further to the right each time, or to the left, sorry, each time. So we'll have to keep an eye on Texas, and maybe one to flip in 28. The Senate race there, we haven't had many polling updates on Texas. It's actually not even in this section, so I'm going to have to look for it a little further down. Here it is. So we haven't had any polling really since the debate, or we haven't actually had any since the debate. So we'll have to see how that affects it. Cruz, from my experience of watching it, did not have the best performance, but it looks like Texas is still going to stay red at the Senate and presidential level. Then we have Louisiana, one that's sneaky, that maybe could go under 10 points in 2028. I don't think the current climate of the United States is favourable for the black voters to be getting out there to vote. So I think Louisiana maybe will shift to the right this time, and then next time, if the black turnout or the black population is expanding in Louisiana, that could make the state slowly turn blue. We have Arkansas, which is going to stay red. We have Missouri, which again is another one that's close to 10 points, but it's not going to be within 10. Missouri there is going to stay red. Iowa is slightly under 10 at the moment, I think. Under 10 points. We can check it on 538. We do have to make a quick one about 538. At the presidential level, they've favoured Democrats, there's no question. Their polling is to the left of a site like RCP. They have Michigan even, they have Wisconsin even, they have Pennsylvania even, North Carolina even, Nevada even. I mean, you've got to give us a result at some point. I mean, look at North Carolina's line. It's not even close. We can check it here. It's 0.5. How can they call that a toss-up? This is why RCP tends to be a little bit better, but they don't have a specific state option. So we will go down here on Iowa. And, we haven't had many come out. This was supposed to be the gold standard in Iowa, and they came out with a 90% total, 10% undecided or third party. That's just not going to happen. 6% Kennedy. This is after he's dropped out. This was like 2 weeks after he's dropped out. It's just not realistic. And they had Trump +4, so we'll see about that one. But Iowa, maybe under 10. But certainly over 5, it's not in play. Same goes for Minnesota. It's not in play at the moment, but it's certainly trending that way. Another one that we can take a quick look at, Minnesota here. It's an average of 5.7 points. The recent polls, though, 8 to 6 points. It's looking like it's slightly out of range for Republicans. Not a lot of third-party vote share there, which I thought there might be. Maybe Walz. Maybe that is the one benefit of Walz, is he brings in those people that were going to vote third party, but that's like 1% in Minnesota, when you could have had a Josh Shapiro who would help you out in Pennsylvania. But anyway, you have Illinois, which is going to be safe blue, and then we head over to the deep south. We have Mississippi, Alabama. These are both going to be red. Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, South Carolina. These are all safe. Florida. We had a 10-point result out of Florida, at 96% in. That's a good result. University of North Florida, that is. The average is 7.8 points, but it's certainly not in play. And this New York Times CNN one had it at 14. Marist had it at 4. They're very liberal, so we have to keep that in mind. I think Florida is teetering on the edge of going into safe territory. I think we'll keep it as just under, probably like 9-point-something points, but we'll keep it there. Then we have Ohio, which is going to be deep red. We're going to say it's over 10 points. Indiana is also going to be red. Then we have Virginia, which again, early voting looks very good for Republicans, but I think the state just stays blue. But we'll have to see about that one. We'll have to keep an eye on that one. Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and Connecticut are all going to go blue, as always. Vermont, the most blue state in the country. DC, the most blue district and constituency in the country. Maryland, deep blue. Delaware, one to watch to maybe go under 10 points, but I don't think it will this time around. It's too much of a shift from last time. New Jersey, under 10, we believe, but that could be a bit of a long shot. We have New Hampshire, which will be under 10, but over 5. Maine and the 2nd District, New Hampshire and Maine, they're kind of in the same category. Maine at large, that is, on a really good cycle, they could go red, but we haven't seen that happen for some time. We have Maine, the 2nd District, going red, of course, and New York is going to go blue. So that's all of our non-swing states sorted. And now we can get into the swing states. So we have, we looked recently, we have Nevada. Now, again, we've talked about Nevada polling and how it tends to favour Trump. And this +6 from Wall Street Journal is inflating the numbers. It's probably a narrow Harris lead. It's probably a lean, to be honest. But Atlas had it at a time, very accurate from 2020. We have Rasmussen, obviously, with Trump +2. We have to kind of take into account that that's Rasmussen. Trafalgar have definitely been a little bit more reserved in their results this year, but this is only 91% in. They have Harris +1. Emerson had Harris +1. Wall Street Journal, Trump +6. I'm waiting for the next Emerson one out of here. If Emerson come up with, or Insider Advantage or TIPP, if they come up with a Trump lead with over 96% in, that will be seismic. But Emerson in there, Insider Advantage do have Trump +1, but that is from 3 weeks ago, and GSG have Harris +1. So I think it's still leaning blue. Again, we have to consider the polling tends to lean left there anyway, or lean right there, and the results end up going more left than the polling. So Nevada is probably not quite in the Republican category, but other states are, like an Arizona. So Arizona is 1.6 in the average. Atlas had it at a time, but CBS, Trump +3, these are all good results. Each one of these polls are favourable results, apart from this Wall Street Journal one, which has Harris +2, 94% in, so not the most reliable or accurate. So we can go to Arizona. We say it's a lean. It's going to lean red. We have national polling, which has Harris up by 1.0. For context, Joe Biden last time won the popular vote by 4.7 or so, or 4.5 maybe, and he could have lost. It was 40,000 votes that put him over the edge. He could have lost by winning the popular vote by 4.5%. Hillary won it by 2, and she lost. Harris currently leading by 1. She probably needs to be at 2.8 for it to be a close race, and at the moment it's not. So Harris really struggling there. In the national vote, of course, the swing states are what decide the election, but the national vote gives us an idea to crosstab. Then we have, after Arizona, we can go to Georgia. It's at 1.8 points. Wall Street Journal at +2. And look, the narrative is Republicans are flooding the polls. But you're not going to flood the polls if you have no favourable polls, like the liberal pollsters don't have at the moment, or at least that's how I see it. They don't have good polls, so they're not putting them out. This is what we see a lot of the time from liberal pollsters. As soon as things start going against them, they stop putting them out. Georgia is a lead for Republicans. It's 1.8. Atlas has Trump +2. This is a good poll. TIPP, another good poll. Insider Advantage, another good poll. Quinnipiac, the most left pollster in the country, up there with Marist. They have Trump +6. I don't know what's going on there, because that's even an outlier on the right. East Carolina University has Trump leading. These are all good, reputable pollsters. These aren't right-wing pollsters. These are centrist to left-wing pollsters, and they all have Trump leading Georgia. Therefore, we can say Georgia is a lean. Next, we have North Carolina. So we did have a blue poll come out there. We've had a couple of blue polls come out of there recently. Atlas kind of outliers all the time whenever they put their polls up. But, they have Harris +2 at 100%. So that's an interesting one.
But we have Carolina Journal has it at a tie. That's only 94% in. Quinnipiac, of course, has Harris up. And then Rasmussen had Trump leading by 5. I don't think it was that big of a margin. But the most important pollsters, like an Emerson or Insider Advantage, have Trump leading by 1. So North Carolina, we had it as a lean before. Maybe the momentum shifting a little bit, but we're still going to keep it as a lean. Then we have Michigan. We can go to Michigan. So the Republicans are already at 262 to 232. One more state would do it, and they lead Michigan by 1.2 in the polls. They lead through Quinnipiac. They lead through everyone. And again, this Wall Street Journal dump, when this is not in the average anymore, things are going to look very bleak for Democrats. They'll have won barely any polls in the last 3 weeks. And we see here Trump completely flipping the momentum. Lizzo with the Trump or the Harris endorsement the other day, saying that the entire country will be like Detroit. And I know what she's referencing. She's referencing a picture of a Detroit building from 2020 to 2024. But that's not realistic. It just shows how out of touch Lizzo is, to be honest. But Lizzo's not running for office, thank God, so it doesn't really matter what Lizzo thinks. It's just complete ineptitude, complete brain fart from the Harris campaign. Then we have Michigan up for Republicans. It's a tilt. We'll say it's a tilt. But it's certainly getting into lean territory. When you look at Insider Advantage, have Trump up by 2. Atlas have Trump up by 3, but Atlas have, again, look, if they're going to be all over the place when we say they're all over the place when Democrats are leading, we can say that for when Republicans are leading, and this is kind of an outlier. It's becoming less of an outlier as we see this +4 and the +2s, but it's still a little bit of an outlier. So I'll hesitate to put it in lean territory, but it's getting there. Then we have Wisconsin, again underestimating Trump usually in the polls. Atlas only has Harris +1, that probably means she loses the state. Quinnipiac has Trump up. I mean, Wisconsin could be even a likely, it could be over 5 points at this point. We don't know, but I'll say it's a lean. And then we have Pennsylvania, which is +0.8 in the average. New York Times Siena dropping a +3 for Harris in there as an outlier, but it's looking like it's over in Pennsylvania. At, what is this, 96% or 95% in? So maybe you'd want a little bit more. You'd want this average to be around 96% total before you started really coining this a Republican state. But we'll call it a lean still, just as we had it last time. But certainly these states are teetering, like Michigan's going to be a lean soon. And Nevada is closing in on Republican territory, perhaps. But anyway, we can go to Polymarket quickly, and we can see that all swing states now are red on the map, which means they are over 10 points on the predictions from Polymarket. Harris is a 38% chance. This is unreal, this shift. And we see on the presidential forecast that she just keeps declining and declining, and it's not getting any better, and it's looking like it could just be over. Now, there's 0.2 remaining here, so here we see the remaining candidates. So if you were thinking of putting your money on, let's say, Chris Christie for president, then go ahead and do that. Of course, Kanye West is in there if you feel like voting for or expecting him to win the presidency. But again, none of this matters. This is all in the past. This is all May, January sort of times. What matters now, it's election day in 2 weeks, and Donald Trump is leading. As I go to my homepage there on Google, but we have Donald Trump. He's getting closer to a popular vote victory. Arizona, he leads by 40 points in total. The House has flipped back blue. We mentioned that the other day, but that is literally going to be a toss-up. That flips every day. The Senate is going to be red. We know this. The presidency is going to be red by a lean margin at this point. And we can look at some of the other markets, actually. We can see, will there be another debate? I mean, there's no chance of that. And they essentially say there's no chance. Will Harris win all 6 swing states? That's still 11%. I might need to get my credits out and start spending, because that is insane. She's not going to win all 6 swing states. Trump fires campaign manager. Well, that's obviously not going to happen. Biden will not resign. He's got 2 weeks to resign. And when it says resign, I assume that means quit and not, die. And will Trump get more black voters in 2024? That's a given. I mean, that should be in the 90s, because black turnout was so against him in 2020. And he keeps mentioning all he's done for the black communities, and it's working, it seems. Virginia is still not really close, not really competitive, so that perhaps, I mean, look, it's a betting market, it's not perfect, but maybe that leads you to believe that Virginia's not quite gettable this time. It could be, and maybe we look back at this and go, wow, look at that, that's incredible. There's 0.4 up for grabs still when you add these both up, so I don't know if maybe Biden's going to get back in there. Maybe they're going to swap Biden back in now the momentum's all against them. Last time we saw a Democrat decline, they made the substitution. So maybe Joe Biden is next. Is he the top? Well, it's other Republican, then Joe Biden's next. So hey, Joe Biden, if the smart money might be on the current president to go in there, change the momentum, and win the race. But anyway, guys. That is the 2-week out results that we are going to forecast, 306 to 232 with no faithless electors. I doubt there'll be any, but maybe there will be. There weren't any in 2020, which I find unbelievable. There were in 2016. There was plenty in 2016. But maybe we could do a video on potential faithless electors another time. Anyway, guys, if you enjoyed, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe for more for the British, I need to say Brazilian, for the British perspective on American politics. Anyway, guys, I will see you next time when maybe we update our results on here, or maybe we talk about something else. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.